At a recent press conference, Stephanie White delivered one of the most professional and basketball-focused media appearances we've seen in the WNBA in years. The spotlight naturally went to stars like Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, and Lexie Hull. However, one name was noticeably missing from the conversation: Kelsey Mitchell. This omission sparked some questions and debates. Why was Mitchell left out? Could it be a sign of deeper issues within the Indiana Fever? What many may not realize is that Mitchell is currently playing in China during the offseason and won't return to the US until 2025. This explains her physical absence, but what about her absence from White's key mentions? Her lack of mention, combined with the fact that she'll be a free agent in January 2025, has left fans and analysts wondering, is Mitchell still part of the Fever's long-term plans, or is her time with the team coming to an end? In this video, we'll explore what Stephanie White really thinks about Kelsey Mitchell. We'll explain why there's no need to panic, and why it's likely that Mitchell remains a key piece of the Fever's future. We'll also look at how her chemistry with Caitlin Clark could play a huge role in shaping the future of the WNBA. Stick with us as we break down White's coaching philosophy, Mitchell's recent performances, and how this potential Fab Four could help redefine the Indiana Fever's legacy.
When you think about the great point guards and post players that our game, not just our league, but our game has seen, they are going to go as the greatest.
Stephanie White's introductory press conference marked the start of a new era for the Indiana Fever, setting a confident, basketball-focused tone. She laid out the team's vision for the future, highlighting key players like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, calling them generational talents. These comments reflected White's strategy, building around high-caliber players and focusing on long-term success. However, one noticeable omission stood out: Kelsey Mitchell's name wasn't mentioned. Fans began to question whether this absence signaled potential issues or a shift in team priorities. But a closer look reveals the situation in context. Mitchell is currently playing in China, a common choice for WNBA players during the offseason to gain competitive experience and earn additional income. Her absence from the press conference wasn't intentional or a sign of tension, it was simply logistical. White later addressed this, confirming that Mitchell's absence was due to her overseas commitments, not a reflection of her status with the team.
When you have a core three like we have, surrounding them with players who are going to, fill the roles, certainly, first and foremost, who are going to embrace the roles, secondly, and who give us the best opportunities for success by complementing what they do really, really well.
Stephanie White's introductory press conference marked the beginning of a new chapter for the Indiana Fever, setting a strong, basketball-driven tone. She shared the team's vision for the future, spotlighting players like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, calling them generational talents. This underscored White's plan to build the team around top-tier players with a focus on long-term success. Yet, one key player's name was noticeably absent: Kelsey Mitchell. This led some fans to wonder if her omission hinted at deeper issues or a shift in priorities. However, there's a simple explanation. Mitchell is currently playing in China, which is common for WNBA players in the offseason, as it provides both competitive experience and financial benefits. Her absence from the press conference wasn't a sign of anything negative, it was purely logistical. White later clarified this, confirming that Mitchell's overseas commitments were the reason for her absence, and it had nothing to do with her future with the team.
Kelsey Mitchell, who I think has weathered the storm of Indiana Fever basketball, and I felt like had the best year of her career, this year, and really, when you think about teams, you think about a core three.
Moreover, Fever executive Kelly Krauskopf's public support of Kelsey Mitchell reinforces her importance to the team. Krauskopf has consistently praised Mitchell's growth and her key role, aligning with Stephanie White's team-first philosophy that emphasizes depth and collaboration. Both management and coaching are sending a clear message. While new stars like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston deserve recognition, the team's success hinges on the synergy of the entire roster. With Mitchell as a central figure and locker room leader, Stephanie White's press conference wasn't just an introduction to her coaching style, it was a strategic statement of intent. By highlighting Clark and Boston, White grabbed attention and focused it on the Fever's bright future. However, as subsequent interviews and team signals showed, Mitchell's place in that future remained secure. Her omission from the initial press conference sparked speculation about her relationship with the new coach or whether she might be considering a move away from the Fever, especially with her free agency looming in January 2025. But a deeper look paints a different picture. First, it's important to understand that Mitchell's absence from the event was purely logistical. She was in China playing during the off-season. This clears up the misconception that her omission was a sign of any internal conflict. White, known for her thoughtful and strategic communication, addressed this directly in a follow-up interview. She made it clear that Mitchell remains an integral part of the team's core, alongside Clark and Boston. These comments weren't casual, they were carefully chosen, signaling Mitchell's importance without violating the team's confidentiality rules regarding free agency. It's also crucial to note that the Fever are not allowed to publicly comment on free agency decisions before it officially begins, adding another layer of context to the situation. In short, while the initial omission may have raised questions, everything points to Mitchell continuing to play a vital role in the Fever's future.
Extremely important to the success of the future. We intend to, have lots of conversations and make sure she knows that, but I think she does know that.
Additionally, Fever executive Kelly Krauskopf's consistent support of Kelsey Mitchell highlights her significant role within the team. Krauskopf has praised Mitchell for her development and her crucial contributions, which align with Stephanie White's emphasis on a team-oriented approach, one that values depth and collaboration. Both management and coaching are sending a clear message. While rising stars like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston deserve their spotlight, the team's success will depend on the collective effort of everyone, with Mitchell playing a key role as a leader in both the locker room and on the court. Stephanie White's press conference was more than just an introduction to her coaching philosophy, it was a deliberate statement of the team's direction. By showcasing Clark and Boston, White drew attention to the Fever's promising future. Yet, as follow-up interviews and other team signals have shown, Mitchell's place in that future remains strong. The omission of her name in the press conference stirred speculation. Was there a disconnect between Mitchell and the new coach? Was she considering a departure with her free agency approaching in January 2025? However, a closer look reveals a different story. It's important to understand that Mitchell's absence from the event was simply due to her playing in China during the off-season, a common move for WNBA players to gain experience and financial benefits. This clears up any confusion that her omission was a sign of tension. White, known for her careful and strategic communication, addressed this directly in a follow-up interview. She reaffirmed that Mitchell remains a vital part of the team's core, alongside Clark and Boston. White's words weren't casual. They were a deliberate message about Mitchell's importance, made carefully to avoid any breach of confidentiality rules around free agency. It's also important to note that the Fever cannot publicly comment on free agency decisions until the official period begins, adding another layer of context to the situation. Ultimately, while the initial omission may have sparked questions, it's clear that Mitchell's role in the Fever's future is not in doubt.
We wouldn't be where we are today without Kelsey Mitchell. I mean, she's clearly a very foundational piece. She's got 7 years of being in and out of this building. She went through a lot.
In addition, Fever executive Kelly Krauskopf has consistently highlighted Kelsey Mitchell's importance to the team. She has praised Mitchell for her growth and key contributions, aligning with Stephanie White's team-first philosophy, which emphasizes depth and collaboration. Both Krauskopf and White are sending a clear message. While players like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston deserve recognition, the team's success will depend on the collective effort of everyone, with Mitchell playing a crucial leadership role on and off the court. Stephanie White's press conference was more than just a coaching introduction, it was a strategic statement about the team's direction. By spotlighting Clark and Boston, White focused attention on the Fever's exciting future. However, Mitchell's omission from the press conference sparked speculation. Was there a disconnect between her and the new coach? Was Mitchell thinking about leaving, especially with her free agency approaching in January 2025? But a deeper look reveals a simpler explanation. Mitchell's absence from the event was due to her playing in China during the offseason, a common move for WNBA players to gain experience and financial benefits. This clears up the misunderstanding that her omission was a sign of internal conflict. White, known for her careful communication, addressed this directly in a follow-up interview. She made it clear that Mitchell remains a core part of the team's future, alongside Clark and Boston. White's words were intentional and strategic, reinforcing Mitchell's value without violating any confidentiality rules regarding free agency. It's also worth noting that the Fever, like all teams, are not allowed to publicly discuss free agency decisions before the official period begins, adding another layer of context to the situation. Ultimately, while Mitchell's initial omission may have raised questions, it's clear her role with the Fever moving forward is secure.